this match with a bang, and we are, there you go, handshake, they are off. First move, Parham opens with a D-pawn and Nordebek copies. What are we going to see? Queen's Gambit accepted, London
does
system.
like the Queen's Gambit accepted, but it's an intriguing choice by Abdusattorov, who normally prefers D4, Knight F6. And what's Parham going to do? Pawn to C4 is the classical move here, but he might bring the bishop out. Yes. Thinking about it.
He's thinking about it. Yesterday he brought the bishop out against Vidit, and now he's keeping us all guessing, you know, opening, fianchetting the light squared bishop. And looking at the heart rates, well, you can see that Parham is on 127, whereas Nordebek 88. And just to give everyone some context, anything over 100 means that the players are stressed. 128, not exactly healthy. And, well, Nordebek developing the light square bishop and Parham simply castling. So there we see the triangle. I saw this described recently as the love triangle.
Really?
Yes, C65. Yeah, and black has.
Yes, also theory, but it's a somewhat risky choice from Abdusattorov. He could concede some space on the queen side if white were to put the queen on b3, but Parham decides to just develop the bishop by playing pawn to b3, and now black is very, very solid. You can see Abdusattorov's heart rate is dropping now that he saw b3. He's very, very calm. Yeah,
and my experience in this type of position is that white has to do something right now, because black has gotten the light squared bishop out for free, and there you see Nordebek actually making a square for that bishop to hide, and here it just seems like black is very comfortable. Look at that. Abdusattorov simply taking space on the queen side. So far, this is model stuff. How is Parham going to challenge black's setup? Is he going to attack the bishop? Is he perhaps going to move the rook to the e1 square, drop back and prepare the e3, e4 break?
Yeah, the moment has passed for Parham to fight for an opening advantage. He's not an opening specialist, he's just trying to get a game here, but of course that's a risky strategy against Abdusattorov. If you don't put this kid under any pressure, he will be very, very comfortable. You can see he's playing very quickly, he's not stressed whatsoever. He's up a minute on the clock, even though white really hasn't done anything special yet, so I don't like how Parham approached this.
No, I don't like it either, and I was actually taught this is the recipe for neutralizing white's position. You exchange a set of minor pieces, and this simply allows the knight or a piece to come to the e4 square, and black doesn't have any problems whatsoever, but Parham saying, you know what, I'm gonna just march my pawns on the queen side, see how far they can go.
Yeah, Parham had a similar structure with colors reversed in yesterday's match, and maybe he thought, okay, I like that space advantage, should try it myself, but here it doesn't feel like he's achieved much. Black could control that e5 square quite well, can prepare that break, putting his bishop on f6 and then giving up the other bishop and breaking in the center. I think Abdusattorov is just fine.
Yeah, I think so too, after all. And there we see a trade of pawns and the queen going to c7, supporting this e5 break that Jan mentioned, and the queen stepping forward to connect the two rooks. I mean, white's position is solid. I wouldn't say, you know, black, despite making all the right moves, has done and has got a winning position or even better position.
No, white does start with an advantage, so you have, of course, some leeway there when we're saying we don't like his approach. It means he didn't get anything. It's not like he's in trouble yet. And on the clock he caught up a little bit, so things aren't too bad just yet for Parham.
Yeah, and actually Abdusattorov told us some of his strategy. His game plan was basically to hold with the black pieces and put as much pressure with the white pieces, and there we see...
Unheard of game plan.
Completely unheard of, never been done before, I joke. And there we see Parham's heart rate rising to 130, whereas Nordebek, very calm, nothing wrong. I mean...
He's attacking the pawn on c5, but comfortable. I like this move, queen b7, covering the rook, hinting at b takes c5.
And
has to be careful here to take control.
He certainly has to be careful. He has to remember that this bishop on g6 exists and it exerts control over the b1 square. It can be easy to forget those. Suddenly it just dawned on me, he's on 42 seconds.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time. Brings the bishop back. If you're wondering about my voice, by the way, I think I finally hit puberty, so it might jump up and down a little bit. Hope it doesn't bother you.
No, yeah. And there we see a trade of pawns and big question for Parham. He only can capture in one way, and that's with his knight.
Take with the knight. Gotta take with the knight.
Yes, he has to do it. Why is he thinking? What's he planning? Is he perhaps planning to trade off rooks? No.
No.
He plays the obvious, but it cost him some seconds. And the position is still tense, still some questions to be answered, because after knight takes knight, pawn takes, the queen can now swoop in to the b3 square and again ask questions.
Yeah, but Parham will be able to answer these questions. There's nothing too bad yet. What is this move? Rook a6. Interesting.
It is very interesting. And I mean, it doesn't do that much though, aside from threat to double. Okay, now. Okay, what are we going to see? Okay, refusing the trade. I like that idea. The one thing that does worry me about Abdusatorov's position is this weak c6 pawn. And suddenly, White's pieces have gotten very active.
It's hard to attack that c6 pawn though. White has to be careful not to run into any e5 counters, because his king could feel a little alone there. That's why Abdusatorov plays the bishop on e4 to pronounce there are some weaknesses around the king.
And Magshoodloo on 14 seconds. I like this move. Okay, yes, it weakens the king, but it does trade off that powerful light-squared bishop. And whoa, Abdusatorov, he says, your king is undefended. I'm going to go for the makings of an attack.
Yeah, rook b3 is putting some pressure.
It's coming in. And trade of... I like this move from Parham. Chasing away the rook, go back. Very good strategy. And now he has to look at his king and he has to take some defensive measures, because look at that king all alone. And Parham, 8 seconds. Not easy position at all.
Players do get 2 extra seconds per move, so it's not desperation time yet, but it's time to speed up a little bit, targeting that pawn on h5. Destroy will cover with g6, but what's he thinking about?
And he's twiddling the rook, and now the rook comes into b3.
Worried about this e4 pawn.
And Parham holding
Parham might be better, he's winning a pawn.
He is winning a pawn. And the king just slides over to protect the bishop. But Black's pieces are very active, and Parham retreating the queen, holding solid.
Pawn is a pawn, White is pressing here.
Yes, and it seems to be a pattern with Parham's play, you know, he just manages to wait in a very efficient way, and then suddenly his opponent drops a pawn, and Nordebek in trouble. And we have to remember, whoever loses this match will be eliminated from the competition. And now Nordebek is under 10 seconds, strikes out in the center. And how is he going to create some chaos to compensate for this pawn?
Dodged a bullet there with his move rook d1. I thought the rook would come to a6, but Parham's trying to keep as much control as possible. But is he going to convert? Doesn't look easy.
No, the rook comes back to attack the c-pawn, and seconds. Okay, Nordebek would be very happy with the draw. He's a pawn down, remember. 4, 3. Now the rook comes down. Now the bishop is simply going to move. He's going to lose on time.
And he dropped some pieces. What's going on now? The rook can be taken, but the white king is in check if white could move.
He's lost on time.
And he loses on time. But he was lost anyway. Queen to f3, there was rook g1 check, winning the queen, and pawn to f3, queen c2 was checkmate. So that escalated quickly.
In the closing moments of that game, I mean, what a story.